Hello and welcome back to another episode of this week's watches, and this week we have 10 incredible watches for you guys and girls, ranging from some incredible vintage Rolex, one with a very special story, over to some modern micro brands, a Hublot. There's really something for everyone in this week's drop at all price ranges, and that's what we aim to achieve every single week here at Kibble Watches. Now, just like every single week, down in the description there is a link to every watch we're showing here. That will take you to the website. You can see prices, extra photos, additional photos under the points of mention, and everything you could possibly want to know. There'll also be a timestamp, so let's say you're here just to see this Baltic chronograph, you can skip straight to that, skip all my rambling and get to what you want to see, so be sure to utilize that. And I want to start off by again thanking you all so much. It's been incredible, really. We're going to be, well, as of the time I'm recording this, we're nearly at the end of January. When you're watching this, we'll be in February, and January is the slowest time of the year for a lot of businesses, but especially this industry in general, and it's actually been a pretty good January, so I really can't complain. Thank you all very much. We've bought and sold a lot, we're consigned a lot, and there are a lot of incredible watches coming to the website soon, so keep an eye out for all of those. And as always, follow us on Instagram. You get a sneak peek into what's coming soon via our coming soon highlights reel, which you can see there, and we keep it up to date as well. Now, before we crack on with what you're here to see, let's show what's on wrist. I'm actually wearing my 1975 Zenith Defy. This is one from the personal collection that I absolutely love. I've had it for a very long time, and yeah, I intend to never sell it, and this is one I will be keeping for the long term, and I've kept it, God, what's it, 5 years maybe at this point, which is absolutely amazing, and it's got a great story, and I absolutely love it to pieces. I may have a white version of this coming soon, so if you are interested, let me know. It's currently in with the watchmaker. It's been there for a little while, just getting new parts and everything like that, getting them to a high standard. As always, that's the thing with vintage, so do keep that in mind. I buy a lot of vintage and I absolutely love vintage, but it has to go through the works, and that can take a little while, so it puts a delay on vintage, whereas modern watches are a lot quicker, a lot easier, and we're able to get them to the website just quicker in general. So now that all of that is out of the way, let's crack on with what you're here to see, and we're going to start with this absolutely beautiful Rolex GMT-Master. This is a 1675 that has been redone by Rolex, as you can see, and we're going to be very honest and talk about all that in the next bit, but it was owned by a gentleman called Doug Flett. And rather than me discuss and give my side of the story, we actually have a brief message from his daughter who has given us this watch to sell. So I'm going to put that on screen just after this, so you can read that, and then we'll talk about the watch. But really lovely story, and one we're very honoured to be able to sell. So let's take a closer look at this one. What an incredible watch, an incredible story to start this week's drop off with, and hopefully you had a chance to read it, what the daughter wrote. If you didn't, go back and give it a pause and you can see that, and hopefully you saw nice and clearly the photo of him wearing the watch, which is absolutely incredible. Obviously the watch looks a bit different now compared to what it looked like back then, but it's still the same watch, and it still holds that same story, and it has the service history and everything like that, which is wonderful. So what you're looking at right here is a gorgeous Rolex 1675 GMT-Master. This is one of the first references, not the first, but one of the first references of the GMT-Master with the 4-digit reference. So it's pre-quick set date, meaning you have to manually go around to change the date, and the GMT hand is coupled to the hour hand, meaning it will always show GMT to the time zone you're at. So hopefully that makes sense. Now, as we discussed, this watch has got service parts from Rolex, and that is quite apparent. You know, you can see that. But at the end of the day, in my opinion, the watch still looks absolutely wonderful. It's still Rolex parts, and yes, it would be fantastic for it to be original, but something to keep in mind, and I spoke to a customer about this recently, is this was a watch that was never intended to be held as an investment or be sold one day or anything like that. The gentleman who originally owned it wore it and took pride in the ownership of this watch. So when he wanted it serviced, he obviously took it back to Rolex, and if they said something needed doing, he took their word as gospel. You know, Rolex said it needs doing, so of course it needs doing. Now, not realizing the impact that would have on the resale value, or what particular collectors would have to say about that, of course, you know, it wouldn't have been the case. So do keep that in mind, and that's the case for a lot of watches that we buy that have service parts. It was done honestly out of just the sort of naivety, or I wouldn't even call it that, you know, just the basic understanding that the brand is telling you it needs something, you think it needs something, right? So this is a 1675 from circa 1973, and inside is an automatic Rolex caliber 15710. Behind that's plain case back. The condition of the watch overall is really, really nice. You know, it's not unpolished, as you can see. It has been polished over the years, but it remains relatively strong for this reference. And let's talk about what's service. So the dial, the hands, the bezel, and the bracelet are service replacements. So the case and the case back and the movement are original. Obviously, the movement will have service parts that it would have received over the years, which is not uncommon. Now, the watch comes with 2 sets of Rolex service paperwork from 2005 and 2018. It comes with service pouches for both of those as well. You can see all of that under the additional photos on the website. As the Rolex bracelet is a service one, you can see it's a heavier link bracelet rather than a folded link bracelet or anything like that. And we can have it polished on request if you want, but I really don't think it needs it. And it comes with all of its links as well, so it's got the spare link, so it'll fit up to, I believe that's around an 8-inch or 7.75-inch wrist. I can double check if you need me to, if you have a bigger wrist than that. But let's show it on wrist and talk dimensions. And here we go, on my 7-inch wrist, a really beautiful watch. Even with the service parts, I think it's still absolutely gorgeous. So this is 40mm by 46mm lug to lug, 12mm on the thickness and 20mm on the lugs with drilled lug holes to make strap changing nice and easy. And I have to be honest, some brown suede or something like that is going to look incredible on this watch. So go check it out on the website today. From there over to a 1984 Rolex Submariner date 16800 with the matte maxi dial. This is absolutely gorgeous. The bezel is faded to a bluey grey colour, and the lume is just perfectly aged, so this is going to be a real gem for someone. Let's take a closer look at this one. Now onto a gorgeous Rolex Submariner. As you can see, this is a reference 16800 from circa 1984, and what makes this one so great is you're looking at its original matte maxi dial. So what that means is the dial itself is a matte finish. As you can see, really gorgeous, and it has the maxi lume plot, so no white gold surround at this point. So it's just a big blob of tritium, and you can see it is aged gorgeously. It's starting to go to this very caramelized color, as are the hands. And you can see the pip at 12 is very golden. Now, a lot of people seem to see that and think something's been done to it or whatever it might be, and I have to be honest, the first time I ever saw one of these, I thought the same thing. But for some reason, the bezels they used at this period on this reference, the bezel pips tend to do this. So clearly the mixture they used reacted different to the mixture used on the dial. You'll have to forgive any background noise. There's renovations going on in the hallway, and I do apologize. Talking about that bezel, you can see, if it will go in focus, it has faded beautifully to this very dull blue grey colour, and obviously it would have been matte black originally, so really interesting to see how that's happened. Nice strong case overall, nice bracelet as well with the dive extension hidden away underneath there that you can pull out like so and then tuck away. And this one is from, as I said, circa 1984, and it comes with its box and paperwork. The paperwork is unsigned, it's stamped. You'll be able to see all that on the website, and it comes with a nice, interesting made in the USA box as well, which I find quite cool. Inside is an automatic Rolex caliber 3035. Yeah, not an awful amount more to say about this watch. If you're after a really cool Submariner that isn't your typical reference, this is a really cool one to consider. The dial and the hands and everything are perfect, and the way that bezel has aged is mesmerizing. So let's show it on wrist and talk dimensions. And there we go, paired on my 7-inch wrist. You can see it's just a classic sub, but it looks so good, it feels so good. And yeah, it's just perfect. So this is 40mm by 47mm lug to lug, 12.5mm on the thickness, and again 20mm on the lugs, drilled lug holes, strap changing super easy. And again, Submariners look great on the bracelet, but swap it out for a strap and I think you'll be in for a world of surprise. So go check this one out on the website today. From there over to a reference IWC that you do not see often. This is actually a Spitfire Chronograph 39mm, quite a rare reference from the 2000s. Very honoured to have this one in stock as well. So let's take a closer look at that one. Next up, a really interesting and rare IWC Spitfire. This is the 39mm reference from the circa 2000, specifically the IW 370613. Some of you IWC fans out there will be familiar with this reference, but it's absolutely gorgeous and the condition is wonderful. It is unpolished and we've left it as such. Obviously it's worn, it's got scratches, and we can have it polished on request, but as always with a watch of this age left unpolished is quite rare, so we tend to keep it that way. Screw down crown at 3 o'clock, and obviously the pushers right there, day date over at 3, and beautiful applied indices and numerals which just absolutely glow, recessed sub-seconds. It really is a beautiful watch and a hell of a lot easier to wear than some of the modern counterparts of this reference. As you can see, it's paired on a nice strap. This is a very dark blue, sort of woven carbon fiber looking thing, which I think really looks cool on the watch. And it has its original deployment buckle. As you can see, IWC proudly stated, also unpolished, and again, we can have it done. Nice signed screw down case back right there. And inside is an automatic IWC caliber 79320, my apologies. And that's basically an ETA or value 7750. That's been modified by IWC, and you can tell that by the layout and a few other giveaways as well, but a really great movement, nice and easy to service, and just a gorgeous piece altogether. Now, as I said, circa 2000s with this one. It comes with its original box. It doesn't come with any original paperwork, unfortunately, but the box is very nice. Obviously, something to be stated is these older boxes tend to fall apart, so the sort of black that they use, whatever they used, it falls apart over time. Breitling's the same. Many Amiga do it as well with the red boxes. They can fall apart. It just starts to flake away if it's left in not the best of conditions, you know. So just keep that in mind. And obviously the strap can be swapped out if you're not a fan of this one. But let's show it on wrist and talk dimensions. And here we go. This is again where this watch absolutely shines for me on the wrist. 39 by 47.5mm lug to lug. 14.5mm thick, so definitely on the thicker side, but what you'd expect for a Spitfire in my opinion, and 20mm on the lug, so endless options for swapping this one out. Personally, I'm not a huge fan of deploying, so I'd be swapping this out just for a normal pin buckle, but again, the options are endless for the straps of this watch, so go check it out on the website today. From there over to a watch we've sold before, and I'm glad to have it back. These are always great. This is the Vertex M60 Aqua line, no date on the bracelet with all the extras and the incredible lume that you just come to expect from Vertex. So let's take a closer look at this one. Next up, the Vertex M60 Aqua Lion. This is the no date version, as you can see, with the bracelet, and it comes with the extra straps and all those good bits that are in the box. See the box shot for details. This one's from April 2022, complete box and paperwork, and as you can see, it's been worn, it's been used, and it's been enjoyed, which is what they should be. You know, if I get one of these watches, this is how I want it to look personally, because at the end of the day, this is a watch that's made to be used. The lume is absolutely incredible. The watch is built like a tank. You have lume on the bezel, and most interestingly, lume on the bracelet. So the logo and Vertex are actually luminescent, so in the dark they glow. And as we open up the bracelet, you have on the underneath a dive extension right there. And as we take a look at the case back, a beautiful Aqua line engraving, proudly stated right there with all the reference numbers and serial numbers and all that good stuff. And inside is an automatic Sellita SW300-1. A nice big screw down crown and great finishing throughout. And what I really like most about this is the matte finish to the bezel, as well as the dial. It creates for a perfect dive watch. You know, glossy can work at times, but I just prefer matte finishing personally, which is why I'm a really big fan of this. And it's great to see Vertex doing something beyond just the traditional military-inspired pieces, which there's nothing wrong with that at all, and I love those pieces as well. But this is definitely punching well above its price range for what you get. So let's show this one on wrist and talk dimensions. And here we go on my 7-inch wrist. Don't be scared by the proportions of this one, not that they're particularly that large, but it does wear incredibly well and it's super comfortable on the wrist. So what you're looking at right here is 40mm by 49mm lug to lug, 14mm on the thickness and 20mm on the lug, so endless options with the strap pairings it comes with, and this tank of a bracelet I think are perfect. So go check this one out on the website today. From there over to something a little left field with this. This is the Monto Noble Mint Lacquer Limited Edition in 38.5mm. This dial colour won't be for everyone, but you know what? It's grown on me the longer I've had it, and I actually think it's really, really cool. So let's take a closer look at this one. Now for the Monto Noble Mint Lacquer Limited Edition, as you can see right here. Now this is a really cool watch. As I said in the intro, it definitely won't be for everyone in terms of the color of the dial, but I really like it, and it's grown on me as time has gone on. It's definitely lacquered. It has that beautiful glossy shine to it, which you only really get from a lacquer finish like this. And Monto's a brand that I've had a few of over the years, and I'm always impressed by the quality and the build, the overall build quality that you get for the price. There's not a lot that really compete in this price range and do as good of a job as Monto do. Nice screw down crown, beautiful finishing throughout, incredibly thin profile as well for the design. Really nice bracelet. You can see there's still a couple of stickers on here, and as we open it up you can see a impressive little glide adjust on the bracelet right there, which is nice and easy to use to get a really good fit. So do keep that in mind. You can adjust that as you please. And interestingly, the bracelet has this notch feature that clips in, so you have to make sure you push it down nice and solid, but it means that this is an incredibly secure clasp, and Rolex used to do this back in the day on some of their models as well. So Monto utilizing the most secure system they could possibly really do. Exhibition case back right there, showcasing the automatic Monto caliber M-22. And this one's from November 2023 with its box and paperwork. And to be honest, it's probably been worn a handful of times at most. There's barely any wear to this thing at all. So if you're looking for one with a nice saving on retail, here's your opportunity to pick it up. So let's show it on wrist and talk dimensions. And here we go on my 7-inch wrist, incredibly comfortable, and if anything, it really goes with what I'm wearing today. So yeah, really cool. And I'm always amazed by how comfortable they are. You know, the profile of this is perfect. 38.5mm by 47mm lug to lug, only 10mm on the thickness, which is incredibly thin, and 20mm on the lug, so endless options for this one. But go check it out on the website today. Now from there to a brand that everyone loves to hate, that is Hublot, but this is a really cool model, and I think you've totally got to see it in the metal because it's probably one of my favorites and also one of the most affordable Hublots you can get. This is the Hublot Classic MDM Automatic Black 38mm with a eye-wateringly expensive Hublot service cost from last year included as well. So let's take a closer look. Now, as I've said before, there are a lot of Hublot haters out there, and some of the sort of comments that people have I think are fair, and I think they actually apply to a lot more brands than they realize. But Hublot just gets a lot of unnecessary hate, and this is a model that I think a lot of people completely missing and not paying attention to, because the price of this compared to what you get for your money I think is incredible. So this is actually the Hublot Automatic MDM Classic in 38mm, and it's the black model. As you can see, this is the reference HU1880.100.1, and this is from circa 2000s, and this watch actually comes with its box, paperwork, and a Hublot service from 2023, which came to over £1,400. And to put it into perspective, this watch is only £2,500. That is insane, just when you consider that fact alone. So yeah, you're really getting your money's worth just from the service alone with this piece. Condition's really good. It's obviously been worn, but nothing too major. It's benefiting from a new strap, as you can see, and it's got a lovely Hublot butterfly right there, as you can see, and the strap is cut to fit a 7-inch wrist. So I apologize if you have bigger than a 7-inch wrist. You're going to have to contact Hublot for a new strap and have them cut it for you again. But there you go, really simple dial right there. Applied Hublot logo, date over at 3 o'clock, really nice notches on the bezel. Just a overall very good design. Now inside is an automatic ETA caliber 2892-A2. As I said, circa 2000s, box and paperwork. Really nice strap, really nice design. And again, these MDMs are starting to make a bit of a comeback, to be honest. I think people are starting to wake up and realize how cool these were for the time, but also how cool they are today, especially in the smaller sizes. And talking about size, let's show it on wrist and talk dimensions. And here we go, paired on my 7-inch wrist. Obviously, something to keep in mind is the strap is cut to a 7-inch wrist, but if you have smaller than a 7-inch wrist, it could be cut again to fit your wrist. So if you have smaller, don't worry. If you have bigger, you're going to have to get a new strap, and we can try and help you with that. But chances are you're just going to have to go directly to Hublot, which is what we would have to do ourselves. So this is 38mm by 46.5mm lug to lug, only 7.5mm thick. That is insanely thin on the wrist, and it just hugs the wrist, as you can see, and it's 19mm at the widest point of the strap and tapering down ever so slightly to the clasp. But there you go, really gorgeous watch, and one that I think a lot of people are not going to pay enough attention to. So let's see how long it lasts and the person who buys it is going to be very, very happy. So go check it out on the website today. From there over to an incredibly popular Baltic. This is the Tri-Compax Panda Chronograph, manually wound 39.5mm. If you're a fan of the Paul Newman, that kind of Panda chronograph, this is a must to consider, especially at the price point. It's a hell of a bargain. So let's take a closer look at that one. Now on to arguably one of the best bang per buck watches on the table today. The value in this piece is incredible. So what you're looking at is the Baltic Tri-Compax Panda, and this is the awesome 39.5mm manually wound version with no dates. Beautiful dial, which is a creamy white color contrasting black subdials, black outer ring, and a matte black bezel. Again, I'm a big fan of all this matte finishing. I think it just really makes everything pop. Running seconds over at 9 o'clock, and the rest are the chronograph dials and hands, as you can see. Beautifully finished. I'm a huge fan of this one. You can see pump pushers, nice signed crown right there, simple case as well, and a nice bracelet with brushed and polished flat link like the old Omega bracelets, coming to a substantial Baltic push button clasp right there. Nice signed screw down case back, and inside is a manually wound Sellita SW510-M. And this is another reason why I'm a huge fan of this one. Baltic have upped their game by using Swiss movements, and I think this is the start of just a new thing for them, rather than using Chinese movements. Now, there's nothing particularly wrong with the Chinese movements, but there is more reliability, more serviceability with the Swiss or any other, like Germany, everywhere like that. For the most part, obviously there are outliers. This one's from October 2023. It comes with its complete box and paperwork, including the spare Baltic strap it comes with. And this is definitely one of those watches that looks amazing on the bracelet, but looks just as good, if not better, on some leather straps. So definitely have a play around with this one. But let's show it on wrist and talk dimensions. And here we go on my 7-inch wrist. Really, really great proportions. Baltic have knocked it out of the park with this release. It's 39.5mm by 47mm lug to lug, only 13.5mm on the thickness, which is really good considering the movement and the fact you've got a domed crystal right there. And 20mm on the lug, so endless options if you're not a fan of the bracelet or strap, or you want to swap it out every now and again, which I totally would as well. So go check it out on the website today. Now from there over to another Baltic, and I think potentially one of the first to come for sale. This is the Baltic Hermetic Torah Brown 37mm. I probably butchered the pronunciation, but a really cool watch. Great lume on this, nice recessed crown, and a brown dial and brown strap. I mean, I love brown, so this is great. Let's take a closer look. And here we go with the Baltic Hermetic, or Hermetic, however you pronounce it, Torah Brown edition right here. You've got those beautiful heavily applied lume indexes with that glossy brown center and black outer ring. It just really works, and the syringe hands, lollipop seconds, everything about this is done to a very, very high standard, and Baltic are really doing incredible things recently. I'm a big fan. Now, I said in regards to the last one about the Swiss movements, it's good to see Baltic using them. This is a Miyota, which is Japanese. Again, a very good high quality movement that is able to keep the price down. So again, I'm still a big fan of that, and I think it's better than using some of the equivalent from Seagull. Again, something just to be said, you know, I'm not saying they're terrible, they're far from it. I just think there's longevity out of these movements that have more parts available, serviceability, all those kind of things. Some people will disagree with me on that, and that's perfectly fine, but a really great watch and great movement nonetheless. Now, this is limited to 200 pieces, and this is number 26, which is really cool. And it's from 2023 with its box and paperwork, and it comes paired on its original brown Tropic rubber strap, which matches the dial beautifully, and a Baltic signed pin buckle right there. The crown is recessed into the case. Nicely done. It takes a little bit of getting used to because I'm so used to seeing a crown poking out at 3 o'clock. And as you can see right here, it's flush to the case. But yeah, you get used to it pretty quick. So let's show this beauty on wrist and talk dimensions. And there we are, comfortably paired on my 7-inch wrist. As you can see, that crown missing at 3 o'clock as it looks, it definitely takes a second to get used to, but it is very comfortable. And some watches I definitely notice I feel the crown, whereas with this one, obviously I can't feel anything other than the smooth case, which is nice. So this is 37mm by 46mm lug to lug, 10.5mm on the thickness, so incredibly thin considering that's including the domed crystal, and 20mm on the lugs with quick release right there. You can even see in the daylight right here, that dial glowing. That's how good the lume is. So go check out this one on the website today. today. From there over to a Nevada. This is the F77 Black Date 37mm. Some of you remember we had a no date brown, I think it was. So now we've got the black. Really cool watch. I think these are great if you're into that integrated sports watch vibe, but with the 70s flair, this definitely provides it. So let's take a closer look. Now to the Nevada F77 automatic with the date and the black dial, and the dial has this carbon fiber-like finish, which is really, really cool and definitely works with the overall design and feel of the watch. Now the F77 is an integrated bracelet design, as you can see, and again really works overall with the bezel. It feels like an amalgamation of a few different references, like the Nautilus, like the Royal Oak, like a Piaget Polo. It has sort of like a load of these different things, but enough of them that it's its own real, original design, if you will. Especially with the bracelet. It's like an oyster style bracelet, and the way it connects to the case is definitely interesting as well. A nice substantial clasp with lots of holes for adjustment so you can get that perfect fit, and a nice screw down case back signed right there. And inside is an automatic Soprod caliber P024. As I mentioned before, Soprod is another Swiss brand, just like ETA, just like Solita, creating movements and doing them at a very high quality at a lower price point, which is definitely working for the brand, and we're seeing them in more and more brands across the board, which is great. Nice signed screw down crown at 3 o'clock as well, which helps with the water resistancy and just overall sportsness of the watch, if that's a word. But yeah, this 2023 box and paperwork, and let's show on wrist and talk dimensions. And there we go, comfortably on my 7-inch wrist. For those of you worried out there about the 37mm size being a bit too small, keep in mind the lug to lug actually goes out further than just the case. So it actually comes to this point. So it does wear bigger than 37mm just because of the way the case is shaped and the way the lugs protrude slightly. So 37mm, in my opinion, is actually perfect. So this is, as I say, 37mm by 44.5mm lug to lug. That's to this point. It's longer at this point. I would say more close to 49 millimeters at that point, and 21.5mm at the largest point, tapering down slightly to the clasp. So again, it has a bigger presence than 37mm. So go check out this beauty on the website today. Now on to the final watch on this week's drop, and arguably one of my favorites, and it's the most affordable as well, I think. This is a Fave Luba Geneve Patek Ellipse style with the integrated bracelet, linen dial. It comes with a box. It's absolutely gorgeous. I really don't think you can go wrong with this, especially at the price point. So let's take a closer look at this one. Now onto a watch that I absolutely adore. This is a gorgeous Fave Luba Geneve with this very delicate linen dial, as you can see under that acrylic crystal, and the acrylic crystal is shaped to this oval shape, as you can see, just like the case, and more of a squared off square, I guess you'd say. Beautiful Fave Luba signed crown right there, polished case with this very subtle integrated bracelet, and it's amazing. The brands really struggle to make this kind of stuff anymore, yet back in the day they were making it all kinds of price ranges, and this is the perfect example with a Fave Luba signed clasp. And the way it works, so you can get a good adjust. You can see all the notches on the bracelet. If you push the bracelet through, sorry, I'm trying to do this on a camera lens, you push the bracelet through there and you go to where you need it to be and close it down, and then it's locked in place, as you can see, and it hides it underneath there, so you end up with a seamless design all the way through, which is really, really great. And yeah, let's open it up. Nice clip-on plain signed case back right there with the serial and reference stated. So the reference is 712, and inside is actually a manually wound Fave Luba caliber 252. A very nice looking movement hidden behind that case back, and rest assured it's running beautifully as well. And this one does come with its box, and it's from circa 1960s, and the price point I think is immense for this kind of design, so I definitely wouldn't hesitate on this one if you're interested. The size is brilliant as well for the overall design. So let's show on wrist and talk dimensions. And there we go, on my 7-inch wrist, as I say, a real winner for me at this size. It's just so comfortable and it looks so elegant, and definitely from the 60s. This is 32mm by 32mm lug to lug, 7.5mm thickness, so incredibly thin, and 16.5 at the thickest point, tapering down ever so slightly towards the clasp. So go check out this beauty on the website today. So there you have it, guys and girls. This week's drop, 10 incredible watches. Let me know down in the comments what was your favorite from this week's drop. I think it will be one of the Rolexes for a lot of you, but I'm interested to hear what is your favorite, because the diversity is so wide that I don't know if you can actually have one particular favorite. Like, I really love the Fave Luba. The Rolexes are obviously great. The Hublot is really cool. The Baltics. I kind of love everything on the table. That's the trouble with this as my job. You know, I could happily wear and enjoy every single one of these watches. I mean, I do have the best job in the world. So yeah, let me know down in the comments what was your favorite. And next week we have another incredible drop lined up for you guys. I'm looking at it now. Another 10 pieces, really varying again with Rolexes and Omegas and Steinhardt and Ming. There is something for everyone in there as well. So yeah, make sure you tune back in next week. We'll see you all again then. Take care. Bye-bye.